Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia moguls.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
I know you come a long way, California.
Yep, from Los Angeles.
All sports stock market?
All sports stock market.
Why? How do you create an idea like this?
I was a day trader, a stock day trader in the late 90s. Got really fascinated by the direct access trading you could do from home. For the first time, you could have a seat on Wall Street from your bedroom. And that was after I sold a computer business I'd built in Arizona in the 90s. So it was kind of a hobby.
An entrepreneur.
Yes,
Just
all my
clarify,
life. All my life, yeah, from about 15 years old. Serial entrepreneur from childhood, pretty much. So it was just it was a combination of things. I was in the computer business, then moved into the trading after I sold the computer business just for fun. It wasn't really for profit. Made my broker a lot of money, didn't make myself a lot of money, but I was fascinated by the technology. And a friend of mine wanted me to come down to Costa Rica and build him a sports book. Now, I didn't know I had never heard of such a thing. I'd never bet on a game in my life, didn't even know what it was. And he said, well, he knew my business experience, says, I want you to come down here. If you remember the late 90s, the Costa Rica, that was the absolute mecca of it all.
Everybody was going there to do the gambling offshore.
Yeah, absolutely. So
now you can just go to your neighborhood racetrack or casino and bet on games, which is going to create a whole star in the sports business.
Indeed.
So did you meddle with that?
I did. I helped him build a software company that provided sportsbook software, and that's when I became aware of the size of the appetite, the money that was pouring into that little country. It was unbelievable, and I had no idea. So it was literally one of those middle of the night snap awake, like, wait a minute, gambling. Well, why isn't there a market mechanism to trade sports teams like stocks instead of gambling? And that's the genesis of it. That was in 2001.
So you're really like this, you have a stock market. You're trying to create a sports market.
Yes.
So people are buying and trading. You're eventually going to do it with players, or it's really
only with teams?
Teams and leagues, professional teams.
Correct.
Is there a particular league you're going to start with, or all of them?
The Big Four is going to be enough to keep us occupied for quite a while. And
is it for money? I mean, are people playing for money, or is it just more for fun?
Right now, the way it's set up, it's on a very limited basis because we're working through the regulation side to basically take the limits off. But you can test it at this moment, but it's not in its final form. It's not.
Well, where do you go? Where do you go for stars? Anybody out there that's watching?
ofAllSportsMarket.com.
ofAllSportsMarket.com. So if you go on there, you get a sense of you can actually go and buy stock.
You can. There's two sides.
In the Yankees or in the Rams or in the Chicago
All
Bears.
four. Yeah. There's two sides of the market. There's a free money side, which is total free fake money. To learn with, and then there's a limited real money side where we allow people to put up to $2,500 a year. That's the two sides. So you don't even have to spend anything. You can just play it.
Is it based on supply and demand? Is it based on how well a team does?
Well, the mechanism itself is going to be buyers posting bids and asks. So it's just like any marketplace.
But you won't own anything, literally.
You don't know. The instrument itself.
But in today's world, like, do you have to own anything? The crypto, and I am so confused. Because I see this crypto stuff, and I don't know what you own there.
Well, the answer is nothing at all. In our case, the instrument, we went through the economics work. We just didn't pull this out of the sky. The underlying asset is sports performance. That's the technical, legal, economic term. So, no, that's never existed before. Our premise is that sports performance is an untapped asset in sports. And people say, well, that sounds like it's crypto. There's nothing
explain
there.
That to me better. Yeah, explain that to me more in detail.
Well, the parallel in the financial markets is weather derivatives. People trade against weather. Weather is not an asset.
Okay.
So there's your parallel. There is no other example. We are the example. We created the category. We created the concept. There is nothing else.
But will people buy the not so good teams?
Yes.
Why?
Because you have look at teams that don't perform well, but they have really huge fan followings.
We know about that in New York. We're very familiar with that in New York. Have you ever seen what's going on in New York? I mean, I think we're like, all of a sudden we got cursed. I mean, I can't remember. I mean, I think it was, the Giants won 2011.
So people still show up. They're still interested. They still buy gear. They still, It doesn't change their behavior. Same thing happens in our marketplace. Most of the time, though, performance will track to the price. So as teams do better, they will rise in price, but not always.
I love the entrepreneurism, though, and that's the cusp of the show. This is really out there, which is kind of when I was talking to you a few weeks ago and asked you to come in. Like, how do you come up with this?
Well, it's just it starts with a notion, right? It starts with a why not question. I mean, I saw, my position on gambling is it's going to exist. I understand that it's never going to stop, but there needs to be a better way. Why can't you have a investment stock market mechanism for sports? So I went looking for that because I had that background in trading and then the exposure to sports betting that woke up. Like, there's a huge marketplace here, and maybe you can take this concept and take it out of this category and move it into the investment category. That was in 2001, so it's taken 17 years to get here.
Wow. Now, what's the holdup? Like, what do you think your biggest challenge is to getting this to market and getting people playing into this?
Fortunately, unfortunately at the same time, I would say unfortunately for the public, fortunately for us, the gambling the Supreme Court decision has opened the topic, right? The lifting of the federal restrictions so states can now legalize sports gambling has awakened the public to sports and money combination, right? The only thing they know is gambling. There has never been another example. So our biggest hurdle is public awareness. Public awareness will drive the process. Public awareness will drive the regulation completion. Public awareness will drive the market growth.
Who's your customer?
Anybody with a sports passion and a PayPal account. That's who we have it connected to now. I mean,
I can make money on this if I guess right on the rate performance.
If you're, it's just like the stock market though. A lot of times you say, well, this is the trend I expect. And then the reality, the market has already baked in the outcome, so the price goes. In other words, there's no sure thing.
Is there any inkling to like what teams are going to be the most valuable and
the top ones? I mean, it's
the typical Cowboys, Yankees.
I mean, the ones that have the large, performance will most of the time drive the price up. So if a team is going through a streak, the price will rise. If the team is not doing well, the price will go down. But because it's the way it works is the trading itself creates the commissions. Half the commissions create the pool. Every time somebody trades, that grows the pool, and that creates the payments. So popularity also drives the price. That's why you have teams that are not doing well in their performance, but they're very popular.
Now, if a team is very popular, even though they suck,
their price can rise.
Their price can rise.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say with the Rangers in hockey are packed, but they maybe don't make the playoffs, can they still rise in value?
Yeah, if the buyers are willing to continue to, if the demand is higher than the supply, it's like anything else.
There's nobody more loyal than a Ranger fan or a Green Bay Packer fan or a Celtic fan. Cubs. Marketing. Hard because there's a lot of social media play here probably.
Yeah, we've been relying, the most effective tool for us by far has been PR, has been media coverage. We've been on CNBC Squawk Box.
How many people on board so far?
Traders.
But they're just playing around now. This is just all soft, right?
Well, there's about 1,000 of them that are on the limited real money side, and a total of about 8,600.
So talk to there's somebody out there listening, and we got a lot of fanatics out there in entrepreneurism, sports, everything else. Could they go on your website and get going, or
right
if they
now,
want, right
it's
now?
live right now. Yeah.
So it is live.
Yes, it's been live for
how much? What's the entry
3 years.
point?
Zero. I mean, you don't have to. You can just trade on the educational side for nothing forever.
Okay, just to play around with.
Yeah, and on the real side, like $5.
Oh, so you can just play around with a little bit of money. So you go to
ofAllSportsMarket.com.
ofAllSportsMarket.com. I was thinking this weekend when I was watching the games, I was like, could there be any more games from like 12? I think it even starts before 12 noon till like 1 in the morning, like 13 hours of. I mean, you had to watch the Arizona State San Diego game. That was insane. I'm like, I cannot believe how much TV I watched. It's embarrassing. I don't even know I don't remember if I even talked to my wife for like 2 straight days, and we were both home, and there was no one else in the house other than a dog. I'm like, I cannot believe how much sports I watch. It's embarrassing. But it was really good this weekend. It seemed very insane, like very even. Teams you wouldn't expect to do well. Is that going to be exciting for you? Teams that
you're mentioning. We don't have college on the limited real money side, but we do have college on the learning side. So that's active.
So it's
for anybody that's interested. Well, anybody can trade. They can trade college football right now on the no money side.
Yeah. Who out there would you buy into? Is there a team? And by the way, nobody's talking about Golden State. God, we still have another month. But that starts in 2 weeks, preseason. And I can't wait for the NBA. I think NBA is going to be phenomenal. But I would buy into Golden State really quick because I think they're pretty good for the next few years. That'll be a good, solid.
The Lakers?
Yeah, I like Golden State. I think the Laker thing may be a little bit more difficult, at least in the short term. LeBron's LeBron, but you got to like that. And I think in hockey, I know I'm going to go out there, but I would buy really low right now, and I'd buy into the Islanders because nobody thinks they can win, but they have the one thing that is he's a mass genius, and that's Lou Lamoriello, and he is the greatest GM in hockey history, I think, and I think he will make them a winner, and then they're going to be moving into the Coliseum, which will be more exciting full-time. This year only half the time, so I'd buy the Islanders because I think you get them really low. Is that the thinking? Like you go grab a team low that maybe has the...
Everybody, it's like market theory in the financial markets, right? You sit around a table with a group of traders and they're all going to come up with a theory. People do exactly the same thing on our marketplace.
How much money does it take to put something like this together? How are you getting funded? Do you need funding? Are you looking for more funding?
Yeah, we're about to put a financing round out on October 1st, is when it begins. All the legal work and all the materials will be completed. So we are moving into the next phase because we're going to incur some costs related to regulation.
Have you funded this initial part yourself, or
not me? The very beginning, it was mine and a small group of friends, but it's now widened out to about 780, 790 people have basically held it together.
Have you burned through over $1 million to make this happen?
Oh yeah, it's across.
Because people get scared.
But here's the thing:
like, people get scared.
I didn't start with $1 million,
okay.
though. Yeah, so it's so that's a good point. How much has been spent to date? Probably across 17 years, about $5 million, I would say, all in. But it started with the notion. A friend that's a computer programmer who took stock in trade, and we nickel and dimed it. I mean, it was not a big pile. Yeah, not a big pile of money up front. And I think that's an important point to make to anybody out there with a business idea, especially now with the computer age and the internet age. The tools you have at your disposal to deploy things to test it, to get it out into the market and see if you have something. It doesn't cost a lot of money. The key is do you have something that works? Is there a demand?
And you get it to the people that need it.
Yeah, or get them to find you, right?
Yeah.
Get them to find you. I mean, there have been times when there have been batches of money show up from okay, I want to put $50,000 in at this point, but most of it has been piece by piece. I need this. This is our budget for this, and then I go to my existing stakeholders and say, "Here's what we got to pay for," and then we gather the money and pay for it. It's been done like that.
So you got a group behind you though that believe in this
yes.
as a real concept.
Yes.
Yeah. You're in this thing for a long time.
17 years. Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a make or break right now?
It is. Yeah, it is because the market is now aware of it. Because of the exposure we've had with media. We've been really lucky. We have, here's a tip. If you can get a famous person, movie star, sports hero, whatever, to come alongside you, do it. That is the most powerful. And don't think that it's out of range or impossible.
I didn't pay him to say this.
I mean,
that's what Steiner's all about. But I agree 100%.
You can't beat it.
Where they go, people will follow.
The cameras and the microphones will show up. So, And these a lot of times they're looking for work, they're looking for opportunities, they're looking for things to the long ball. They don't.
Now, have you found a couple?
Yes.
Like, are you at liberty to say?
Yes. Bernie Nichols of the
hockey.
Yeah.
LA Kings.
Was the
Ranger,
first one.
former Ranger, LA Kings.
He
Good
was
guy.
The very first guy.
Like Bernie.
He's a wonderful guy, and if it wasn't for him, we would have stopped about 2006 because
Why?
he came in there. Well, because we had no marketing budget, we had no way to get the word out, and he brought all of that attention to us, which started the machine. Now we have, if you know the movie A Christmas Story, the bully, Zach Ward. So we have basically two big footprints, one in sports and one in entertainment.
And that's helped you, give you a boost.
Tremendously.
Okay.
Tremendously.
So you're now getting ready. It sounds like you've probably done the hard part, which is the idea, developing it. It sounds like you've got your support system in place and you've got a good product or the product you want.
Yeah, it's working.
The question is, now you get on your marketing blaze.
Well,
PR
it's
marketing
more,
to get people on board, or no?
It's not a customer drive. It's a regulatory drive.
Oh.
So we don't want it to be limited, because in order for it to do what it's supposed to do, this is not just a gimmick. It's not a new way to put money on sports. It's actually an engine, an economic engine to create new jobs and new opportunities and rebuild the middle class. That's what we're about. That's why I'm still doing it. It's not just a clever trick to put money in sports together.
What do you compare this to for somebody out there, for them to get their arms around? Let me approach it that way. What would you compare this stock market, this sports market to?
In what context?
Is there another type of industry, another type of exchange or market that's similar to this, that people are putting money on, basically not necessarily the actual value of that particular industry or company, but they're putting value on the futures or...
Well, if you want to, the closest concept financially, legally, would be like the exotic derivatives market. Like I said, the weather contracts. If you wanted to look at a market, and that's not something the public is going to know. How about commodities like corn, oil? Not so much because those have a hard asset behind them, a deliverable. Gold, oil, soybeans, those things. Yeah, it's paper trading of contracts, but you can go cash that in for a bushel of corn.
Okay.
Barrel
well, that's
of
a big
oil.
idea. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? And how do they get a hold of? Are you a Twitter guy, Instagram, LinkedIn?
The company, I don't maintain those things personally. The company has there are links on the homepage for that stuff. There's Facebook pages and all that. We have a live forum inside the website where people can discuss. That's where we post news. So if you go to the website, you can find like the latest goings on and stuff. I'm kind of a like to hide in the back room kind of guy.
You're a back end guy.
Yeah, I'm really.
But do you have a favorite sport?
Baseball, if I have to pick one.
But you're not a crazy.
No.
You're not a crazy sports fanatic, which is interesting to me that you're getting into in deep.
To a sports business.
Do you think you see it more clear that way?
That's what other people have said. For me, I'm fascinated by the market machinery, the technology, and the ability to do something big in the economy, because the demand is so high and we need stuff in the middle. The middle needs new things. They are surprised. People are surprised. They assume that I'm some raving sports junkie, and I can't tell you the last time I've watched anything on television. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
So it's completely. So others have said, well, that's probably. I don't know why it happened like that. Who knows? But they say it probably gives me a clearer view of the product and the business than I would have if I were really a sports guy.
How big can this get?
As big as things get. It can get as big as the foreign exchange markets. That's what other experts have told us. Meaning there can be literally billions or trillions of dollars a day in turnover. Don't ever use that word when you're building something. When we achieve regulation and it becomes like New York Stock Exchange.
So if I put in a couple $1,000, could that turn into $100,000? Is that kind of the dream of it?
Yes.
Have a legitimate chance of something like that happening, but not right now. Not yet. But
it's my job at this point to see that final pathway to go from this cool thing that we built in the garage to something that the U.S. government stamps as approved and becomes, because that approval is the only PR we need. once we can go out to the world and say, Securities and Exchange Commission has given us a license to operate this as a fully unlimited regulated sports stock exchange. That's a press release that goes into everybody that's talking on our behalf and off to the races. And it will just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and past the point I'm even alive, I'm sure.
That's cool. Final remarks for anybody that want to get a hold of you,
I would just say, if you have a dream, here's the test of time. There have been really dark moments in this. The financial crash caught us. I mean, we built the first version and the economy wiped it out.
Sleepless nights.
Worse than that. I mean, just doubts and fears like you wouldn't believe. 5 years of that darkness. But if you have something that you know that you have it, don't give up. Stick it out. And you're gonna get people close to you are gonna give you the that's the sad commentary. The people closest to you, the most that you would think would be most behind you, are the ones that are gonna give you the most grief. That's what I found.
Well, at least the other view that maybe they're afraid you don't see.
Could be.
You need that view. I mean, but the bottom line is they only get certain voting rights. That's why I feel like, when people come to me, even if sometimes the little voice in my head, I limit those voting rights to that person. I'm like, listen, I appreciate your opinion, but you don't have preferred voting rights. So you're being, but I appreciate your opinion. I say around here sometimes, like, it's not a democracy. I mean, I'm interested in your opinion, but I didn't say you got to vote. Chris, thank you very much. I love your idea, love your enthusiasm. Don't lose your entrepreneurial spirit.
That's right.